We all want to be seen as kind, generous, and reliable. We want to be the person others can count on. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Not everyone who asks for our help deserves our trust. Trust isn't built by saying yes, it's built by knowing when to say no. Some favors are small, simple, and fair, like holding the door open for someone or lending a friend a book. But there are 8 specific asks that should make us pause, because behind these requests, there's often a hidden agenda. And when we don't see it in time, we pay the price. Let's talk about boundaries. Not the kind you find on a map, but the invisible lines that protect our time, energy, and emotional well-being. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about deciding who and what we let in. And if we don't set them intentionally, other people will set them for us. Most of us were raised to believe that being a good person means being available, always saying yes, always showing up, never disappointing anyone. But here's what life teaches us, sometimes the hard way. If we don't know where our limits are, people will push past them. Boundaries are the difference between generosity and self-sacrifice, between being supportive and being used. And the people who get upset when we set boundaries, they're the ones who benefited from us not having any. But let's be honest, setting boundaries is hard, it's uncomfortable, it makes us feel guilty. We worry that we'll lose relationships, that people will see us as selfish, that we'll become the bad guy. And for some of us, that fear runs deep because we were taught that love, approval, and connection come from how much we give, even when it costs us too much. But let's reframe that. A boundary isn't a wall, it's a door with a lock. It doesn't mean we refuse to help people, love them, or show up for them. It means we get to decide who has access to us and under what conditions. Think about your closest relationships. Do the people in your life respect your time, your values, your need for space? If someone only loves you when you're available to them 24/7, is that really love? Setting a boundary might sound like this: I can't lend you money again. I care about you, but I also have responsibilities. I'm not comfortable keeping that secret. That's not something I can be a part of. I need to step back from this relationship because it's not healthy for me. I can't be the only one making an effort. This has to be a two-way street. Here's the truth. When we set boundaries, we don't just protect ourselves, we also teach people how to treat us. And not everyone will like it. Some people will push back, manipulate, or guilt us into changing our minds. That's when we have to remember boundaries are about self-respect, not people-pleasing. So the next time someone asks you for a favor that doesn't sit right with you, take a breath and ask yourself, if I say yes, am I doing this out of love or out of fear? Am I being kind or am I being taken advantage of? Because trust isn't just about knowing who to let in, it's about knowing when to say, this is where I draw the line. There's a fine line between helping someone out of kindness and being pulled into something that benefits them at your expense. That line is the difference between genuine need and manipulation. Most of us want to help. We want to be there for our friends, our family, our colleagues. We want to be the person who steps up when someone is struggling. But the harsh reality is this: not everyone who asks for help actually needs it. Some just want to use you. That's why it's important to learn the difference between a sincere request for help and a manipulative favor. And the difference often comes down to intent. True need, when help is honest and earned. When someone genuinely needs help, they ask directly without pressure or guilt, accept no for an answer, take responsibility for their situation, express gratitude, not entitlement. try to find solutions, even if help isn't available. People in true need respect your choice. They don't see your support as something they are owed. Instead, they see it as a kindness, and they don't take advantage of it. Think about a time when someone truly needed your help. Maybe it was a friend going through a crisis, a family member who hit a rough patch, or a colleague who needed support on a big project. The difference with these people, they weren't trying to trap you. They weren't trying to make you feel guilty. They were simply asking, and when you helped them, it felt right. It felt like something you wanted to do, not something you felt forced into. Manipulation, when a favor is a trap. Now let's talk about the other side. When someone is manipulating you into doing something, it doesn't feel like a request. It feels like an obligation. Manipulative people use guilt. If you really cared about me, you do this. Shame. Wow, I guess I was wrong about you. Pressure. I need an answer right now. Flattery. You're the only one I can trust to do this. Playing the victim. Everything is so hard for me and no one else helps me. When someone is manipulating you, you might feel an instant sense of dread when they ask for something. Maybe you already know what's coming before they even say the words. Maybe you feel like saying no will make you a bad person. Maybe you feel like you don't really have a choice at all. And that's the point of manipulation, to make you feel trapped. How to tell the difference. So how do you know if someone's request is coming from true need or from manipulation? Ask yourself these questions. How do I feel about saying no? If it feels like an honest request, saying no won't feel like a betrayal. If it's manipulation, saying no will feel like you're doing something wrong, even when you're not. Does this person respect my boundaries? If they truly need help, they'll understand if you can't give it. If they're manipulating you, they'll push, guilt, or punish you for setting a boundary. Is this a pattern? If someone always seems to be in crisis, always needs rescuing, or always turns to you for help, they may be using you as a safety net rather than taking responsibility for their own life. Do they take responsibility for their choices? People in true need acknowledge their own mistakes. Manipulators blame everyone else, including you. Breaking free from manipulation, the hardest part of dealing with manipulators is that they don't like losing control. The moment you start setting boundaries, they'll react. They might get angry. They might guilt trip you. They might try to make you feel like you've changed, like you're selfish, like you're abandoning them. But here's what you have to remember. You are not responsible for their reaction. You are not obligated to fix their life. Saying no does not make you a bad person. Real trust is built on honesty and respect, not control. And if someone only values you when you're doing things for them, they never truly valued you in the first place. So the next time someone asks you for a favor, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, am I helping because I want to or because I feel like I have to? If it's the second one, it might not be a favor at all. It might be a test. And the answer you give will determine whether they see you as a person or as a resource. We all want to be helpful. We want to be the person who steps up, who's there when people need us. But there's a difference between being kind and being taken advantage of. Some favors are harmless, even thoughtful. Watching a friend's pet for a weekend, helping a coworker with a project, or offering a ride to someone in need. But other favors, they're not about kindness. They're about control, manipulation, and testing your boundaries. Certain requests should make you stop and think before you say yes. These 8 red flags aren't just signs of unhealthy relationships. They're warning signals that someone might be using you. 1. Can you lie for me? This one might seem small at first. Maybe they ask you to cover for them at work. Maybe they need you to tell their partner they were with you when they weren't. Maybe they just need a little white lie to get out of trouble. But here's the problem. If they're comfortable asking you to lie, They're comfortable putting you in harm's way. And sooner or later, the lie won't just be theirs. It will become yours too. People who ask you to lie for them will eventually ask you to take the fall for them. And when the truth comes out, they'll protect themselves first. Ask yourself, if someone truly valued your relationship, would they ask you to compromise your integrity for them? 2, can I borrow money again? We all go through hard times. A friend who genuinely needs help might ask for a loan once, and they'll be upfront about paying it back. But if someone repeatedly borrows money without ever repaying it, you're not helping them. You're funding their lifestyle. Money and trust are deeply connected. A person who respects you won't feel entitled to your financial support. And if they do, it won't stop at money. If someone constantly asks you for financial favors, take a step back and ask, do they see me as a friend or a bank? Do they ever offer to pay me back? Do they make me feel guilty if I say no? A true friend won't put you in financial distress just to make their life easier. 3, can you take the blame? This is the favor that should send alarms ringing in your head. If someone is willing to let you take the fall for their mistakes, they don't respect you. They see you as disposable. It might be small at first. Can you say you forgot to turn in the report instead of me? But it escalates. Can you tell my partner it was your idea to go out drinking? Can you say you lost the paperwork? Before you know it, you're the one facing the consequences for something you didn't do. If someone asks you to take the blame, they're showing you their character. And trust me, when the stakes get higher, they won't hesitate to push you under the bus again. 4, can you keep this toxic secret? There's a big difference between keeping a personal confidence and being asked to hide something unethical. If someone tells you something that makes you deeply uncomfortable, cheating, stealing, harming someone, or any behavior that crosses moral lines, that's not a favor, that's a trap. Toxic secrets are never meant to protect you. They're meant to protect the person who is asking you to keep them. If you're holding on to someone else's secret and it's weighing on you, ask yourself, why am I being asked to hide this? Would they do the same for me? Am I comfortable carrying the burden of this? Not every secret is meant to be kept. And if someone asks you to silence your conscience, they're asking for too much. 5, can you put me before your own needs? This one is subtle. It doesn't always come in the form of words. It comes in expectations. It's the friend who expects you to drop everything when they need you, but who's never there when you need them. The family member who guilts you into doing things for them, but doesn't care about your well-being. The partner who demands all your emotional energy, but doesn't give any in return. Love, whether it's in friendships, family, or relationships, should be mutual. The motive to give them another chance. The question isn't about whether they're sorry, it's about whether they've actually changed. A real apology doesn't come with pressure. It doesn't come with guilt tripping. It doesn't sound like, come on, I said I was sorry. You're really going to throw away everything we had? You're being too sensitive. Real remorse comes with action. If someone asks you to take them back but hasn't put in the work to earn back your trust, they don't deserve it. 7, can you go against your values for me? Maybe it's something small, laughing at a joke you don't find funny, gossiping about someone, pretending to agree with something you don't believe in. But once you start bending your values for someone, it never stops. People who truly respect you won't ask you to compromise who you are to fit their expectations. They won't ask you to go against your beliefs, your morals, or your gut instinct just to make them comfortable. If someone asks you to betray your own integrity, ask yourself, is this who I want to become? Would I feel good about myself after doing this? Is their approval worth my self-respect? The answer is always no. 8 types, can you be responsible for my happiness? This might be the hardest favor to recognize because it often comes from people we love. It sounds like you're the only one who makes me feel better. If you leave me, I don't know what I'll do. I need you to fix this for me. Here's the truth. You are not responsible for another person's happiness. You can support them, love them, and encourage them, but you cannot carry the weight of their emotions on your back. People who expect you to be their emotional anchor will drain you. And no matter how much you do for them, it will never be enough. Let's talk about something so many of us struggle with, people pleasing. At first glance, it doesn't seem like a bad thing. After all, what's wrong with being nice? What's wrong with wanting to make people happy? Isn't it good to be helpful, supportive, and agreeable? But here's where it gets dangerous. When making others happy comes at the cost of your own happiness. People pleasing isn't just about kindness, it's about fear. Fear of rejection, fear of disappointing others, fear of conflict, fear of not being enough. And that fear has a price that's paid in burnout, resentment, and loss of self-respect. How people pleasing starts, most of us don't wake up one day and decide, I'm going to put everyone else's needs before my own. It happens slowly, shaped by our upbringing, our experiences, and the way we've been conditioned to seek approval. Maybe you grew up in a home where love and acceptance were conditional, where being good meant not making waves. Maybe you learned early on that keeping the peace was the only way to avoid conflict. Maybe you were praised for being selfless, for always putting others first, for never saying no. And so you learned being agreeable equals being liked, saying yes equals avoiding conflict, keeping people happy equals staying safe. And before you knew it, you became the person who always says, of course I can help, no worries, I don't mind, it's fine, I'll figure it out, even when it's not fine, even when it does bother you, even when you're drowning. Because saying no, setting boundaries, disappointing someone, that feels terrifying. The hidden costs of people pleasing, for a while, people pleasing seems to work. You avoid conflict. People like you're seen as dependable, selfless, and kind, but over time, the cracks start to show. Because pleasing everyone else means betraying yourself. Here's what people pleasing really costs you. 1, loss of identity. When you spend your life trying to be what everyone else wants, you forget who you are. What do you actually want? What makes you happy? What are your values, beliefs, and priorities? People pleasers often struggle with these questions because their entire identity is wrapped up in serving others. The more you mold yourself to fit everyone's expectations, the more you lose touch with your own. 2, emotional exhaustion and burnout. Saying yes all the time doesn't just drain your energy, it drains your spirit. You give and give until there's nothing left. You stretch yourself too thin. You put everyone else's needs above your own, thinking you'll find fulfillment in being needed. But instead, you feel exhausted, depleted, and unseen. The worst part, the people you bend over backward for don't always notice. And even if they do, they may not reciprocate. 3, resentment and frustration. At some point, exhaustion turns into resentment. Why do I always have to be the one to compromise? Why does no one check on me the way I check on them? Why do I feel so unappreciated? You start to feel used, taken for granted, invisible. And the worst part, you can't even blame them because you taught them that this is okay. By never setting boundaries, you told people, you can treat me this way and I'll accept it. 4, their anxiety and fear of disapproval. People pleasers often live with constant anxiety because their happiness depends on how others perceive them. What if they're upset with me? What if I let them down? What if they stop liking me? And so you keep saying yes, you keep bending, you keep prioritizing their feelings over your own well-being, not because you want to, but because you're afraid of what happens if you don't. 5, weak or non-existent boundaries. People pleasers often struggle to set boundaries because boundaries mean saying no. But without boundaries, you become a doormat, someone who is easy to manipulate, guilt trip, and take advantage of. People who take advantage of you won't stop unless you stop them. And if you've spent your life saying yes, breaking that pattern will feel uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Setting boundaries doesn't make you mean. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. Prioritizing yourself doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you someone who respects themselves. How to break free from people-pleasing. Breaking free from people-pleasing isn't easy, but it's necessary if you want to live a life that's truly yours. 1, get comfortable with discomfort. Saying no for the first time will feel awkward. Setting a boundary will feel wrong. Disappointing someone will make you feel guilty. That's normal. You've spent years avoiding these feelings. But discomfort isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something different. To ask yourself, why am I saying yes? Before you agree to something, pause and ask yourself, am I saying yes because I truly want to? Or am I saying yes because I'm afraid of disappointing them? If your answer is based on guilt, fear, or obligation, that's a sign you need to rethink your response. 3, start small. If setting boundaries feels overwhelming, start with something simple. Say no to a small request. Speak up when you don't agree with something. Express your own needs instead of always going along with others. The more you do it, the easier it gets. 4, accept that not everyone will like it when you stop people-pleasing. Some people won't be happy. They liked the version of you who always said yes, the version of you who never pushed back. And that's okay. Anyone who only liked you because you were easy to control never truly valued you. Real relationships, healthy relationships, are built on mutual respect. The right people will accept and honor your boundaries. 5, stop apologizing for prioritizing yourself. You don't owe anyone an apology for protecting your energy. You don't have to feel guilty for saying no. You don't have to justify taking care of yourself. If someone makes you feel bad for setting boundaries, that's their problem, not yours.